Welcome to the Vet with Pets podcast. I'm Elliot.
And I'm Becky.
Thank you for listening in again, and congratulations if you listened to the first one and you come back for this one as well. We're going to cover some history of the Vets for Pets practice and show you one of our inpatients, chat through some cases from this last week as well, and see where we get to, really.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
That's the plan. That's what I've got written down.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page then.
So the inpatients, we've got 2 hedgehogs in, one of which stayed overnight and is doing really well, and I've taken some video of me doing that one this morning so you can have a look at us weighing him, but he's just curled up into a ball because he's nice and healthy, just underweight.
Yeah, he's doing really good, isn't he? So he came in, just found small, and this time of year hedgehogs, if they're too small, they won't survive hibernation. Like the most stupid species, in my opinion, because
apart from pigeons.
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, pigeons will breed all year round, but they do a fairly good job of it. But hedgehogs, they just keep breeding, even though they know that they're going to have to hibernate, and then they just die.
Yeah.
Like there's absolutely no chance of them surviving the winter.
No.
It's like ridiculous.
And we just find they're quite bright when they come in, and then they normally have sort of gut issues.
You normally have parasite issues, don't they?
Yeah, just sort of failure to thrive. But this one is doing really well and putting on nice weight. And then
so he's had a poo sample done to check if he's got any parasites, and he was clear actually.
Clear.
And he's eating well and he's active.
And then this one was clear as well, but probably will do another one just to see, because after being in a few days, the parasites can start to develop. They've been laying low, and then being in practice and the stress of coming in can affect them. But Elliot took this one home last night because he needed syringe feeding. Yeah.
He dropped quite a bit of weight yesterday. He's been in with us for a couple of days, and the first night was sort of stable, but the second night he dropped something like 25 grams, didn't he, I think?
Yeah,
went from like 220 to 195 or something.
And just didn't eat very much. He ate the first night, and then the second night he'd only he's done a nice wee there now. So we think he's nicely hydrated. So
we're going to get him out, and we're going to give him a feed, is the idea. So he's having, similar to if you watched our bat failure last week when the bats didn't play the game, we're hoping the hedgehog will. He's going to have some Emerade carnivore formula, which again is like an elemental feed which provides all the materials that he needs.
Doesn't want me to grab him.
He's not really small enough for milk, so when they're really tiny we'll put them on the wildlife milk, but he's just a little bit too big for that and should be able to cope with the carnivore feed absolutely fine. So yes, he's been chilling at my house last night. I had another patient which I took home, so he ended up being slightly neglected, I will admit.
He got fed twice.
He got fed twice in the night, and he had fluids twice. So, and the kids thought he was really cute.
He is cute. Oh, he's curling up better than yesterday as well.
Yeah, he's much stronger. So the thing with hedgehogs, of course, is that if they are strong, they will just curl up and refuse the syringe feeding. Sometimes you sneak a bit in, and then there we go. He's bitten onto the syringe. So sometimes they sort of like get a sniff of it and realise, oh, actually, this is good stuff.
Much more successful than the bats.
Yeah. I think he's just really hungry, and I do wonder how much they are programmed just to understand that if they're not eating, they're going to die this time of year. Because there's lots of figures out there with weights that people think hedgehogs should be to be able to hibernate, but truthfully there's no real set weight and people have different markers. It's more based on body condition. So you could have a small hedgehog that's a really good weight and it'll be fine, or you could have a large hedgehog that is the same weight but its body condition is too low, and it won't cope with the hibernation then. He's taking that really well, isn't he?
I have to draw up some more.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll give him a bit more in a bit. So hopefully when he starts gaining weight, he'll go on to be rehabbed. We've got a couple of people that we work with that will take the juvenile hedgehogs and just feed them up. And he won't be released until next spring because he'll need to gain weight. We'll need to keep him out of hibernation, which is silly, really. I do often think about the ethics of it and some of the wildlife treatment we provide. Like, realistically, is he better off just being euthanized because he's one that wouldn't have survived in the wild anyway? So are we?
There's just such a shortage of hedgehogs.
Well,
they're declining, and
depends a little bit on the area, I think. But are we doing them any favours by then releasing ones that should have just succumbed?
Although I've got the one that was released in my greenhouse, and he comes back. Well, I have two coming back now. Apart from they haven't been the last 2 nights, so I think they are starting to. And then Houghton project, where we release. Well, we send quite a lot of them for building up and then soft release.
Yeah.
That one of theirs has had babies in the wild, so, which
true.
we know. So
yeah.
But it's just hard to know because when we release them, we don't know what happens.
Well, there's no follow up, is there?
No.
There's no follow up. Although hopefully we'll get Alien, who used to run Pricklebum's Hedgehog in Ludlow.
That would be nice.
Because they used to microchip them all, and it's interesting talking to her. Ones that would come in, and they would then scan them all routinely, and some of the ones they knew that they'd released would then come in with increased parasite burdens, that sort of thing again. So I have no doubt there's loads that probably do well, but there's certainly some which probably just don't.
They're just not going to anyway.
No. And we don't entertain releasing or carrying out surgeries like amputations, eye removals, stuff like that. Yeah. Very rarely you'll have one come in that is somewhat debilitated and seems to be doing absolutely fine. And so it would go back to where it came from, but I'd say that's pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't amputate a leg and put them back out in the wild.
You've got to make sure they've got a
or
good
keep them in
chance.
captivity. Like, there's no point. They've got to go back to the wild.
Yeah.
Having said that, I have got one exception in my garden. I've got a large garden. It's rabbit and guinea pig and hedgehog proof. And I've got an older female that we were given by a rescue to look after because she couldn't be released. So, yeah.
She's sort of semi.
Yeah. So, I mean, she lives like a wild existence as far as she's concerned. Really, she just gets fed. Sort of like being wild, but with benefits, really. Although she hasn't eaten in like 3 weeks now. She goes into hibernation quite early every year.
Yeah.
She tends to come out then a bit around Christmas time, even if it's quite cold, and have a bit to eat, and then she goes back to sleep again.
It's just the life. I'll put him back in his box.
He's cute, isn't he?
Yeah, he's cute. He's very noisy as well. Hedgehogs don't normally talk that much, but he's quite vocal.
Yeah, he was shouting in the car. He's just like screeching. I suspect he probably is just quite young, and he was either abandoned by mum. But he wasn't the only patient last night, so Becky D and I got called in. So I had a phone call like 8:30, I think it was. I saw a poorly rabbit yesterday, later on in the day, about 5:30ish. And he seemed fairly stable. We did a blood sugar test, which is quite a nice way in rabbits to check how critically ill they are. So if it's really high, then it tells you there's something bad going on. And his was quite low. I couldn't find anything else. He had a little bit of a gassy tummy, so sent him home with some medication, and then had a call back from his owner a bit later. He deteriorated. So saw him, and when he came in this time, his blood sugar had increased a bit, so it gone up to like 14. Normal somewhere around like 3 to 8ish, and put my hands on his tummy, and he had a very painful bladder, and it was very large. So he actually had a bladder stone, which had then got stuck in the neck of the bladder, where the bladder turns into the urethra, the tube that the wee comes out through. So Becky and I did surgery. Well, we x-rayed and did scan him as well. We did bloods to check his kidney values. He's a 9-year-old rabbit anyway, so he's not got age on his side. He's an older gent, but age isn't a disease. No. Anyone who comes to see me with an older pet, be fed up of me saying that. Age isn't a disease.
And he's not a large breed rabbit, is he?
No. And he's in really good nick, and he's very well loved. And he's got a very diligent owner. So, yeah. So we did the surgery. He came home for fluids and medication. So got into bed about 2 o'clock last night, and then had to get up at 5 this morning to give him his meds, bless him. And then back up at 7 to give him some more stuff. So we'll put some videos on of him.
We could put his x-rays up.
I'll put his x-rays. I took a picture of the stone as well. Didn't get any of the surgery because we were distracted doing the surgery. But yeah, I like doing that sort of thing. You don't like being called out.
You said you like the on-call, don't you?
I don't mind the on-call. It's one of those times a day where I can just do the job that I need to do. I don't have to worry about any of the management stuff. I don't have to worry about managing team, any of the real business sort of things. You can just do the job that needs doing. Yeah,
because you do get a lot of questions like through the day, and owners wanting to know things and things to respond to. You just have a list, don't you? Whereas
I don't really mind that. I think it's I don't have to worry. Well, no, it's more that I don't have to worry about what anyone else is doing. Don't have any responsibility.
just worry about yourself.
Yeah. We just get the job done. So, yep, he's doing really well. But yes, when I got up my alarm went off this morning, and Yolo woke up with the alarm as well, and he came staggering out of the bedroom, and he said, "Daddy, I'm taller today." He's half asleep. I was like, "Okay, go and do a wee. Go and do a wee." And lift the toilet seat up, don't wee everywhere, that sort of conversation. And then we went through to the kitchen, and you saw the rabbit, and we'll put the video in of this as well. I think Ralph's owner will be fine with this. He was giving him a stroke whilst I was sorting out the meds, and Ralph kept going back over for a stroke. They gave him a cuddle as well, which is quite cute. So I went back to bed then, and he stayed up, and Joy got up as well. And Emily, thankfully, went out and did all our animals. And then when I got up at 7, the kids had been left in the kitchen on their own with the hedgehog and the rabbit, and they were having a Halloween party. Luckily, neither hedgehog nor rabbit seemed bothered by Ghostbusters, but
they're having a Halloween party, making Christmas decorations.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure if they're classing them as Christmas decorations or Halloween decorations.
They could do both.
Yeah, but yeah, so
I was just woken up by Arabella because the clocks went back today by an hour, and so breakfast was late, and she was not impressed. She shouted all the way down the stairs. She was tapping my feet in the bed to get me up. So
that's why Tarka's banished from the bedroom at night.
No, she's good overnight. It's just when it gets to the morning. I don't know how she knew, but she knew the clocks had gone back.
It's body clock, isn't it? Yeah, they're very in tune.
Yeah, and then we still got Sarabi, our lodging cat, but someone's coming to have a look at her. Well, Tasha's coming to see her on Tuesday, so to see whether she'd fit in with their family, which would be nice.
Yeah.
So, and she's just on her Bisolven now and the Metacam. She's not being nebulised now. She's doing really well.
So Bisolven breaks down the mucus in like the airways. Metacam's anti-inflammatory.
Yeah, because she's got cat flu symptoms or chronic cat flu.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's really bright, doing really well.
Good. Yeah, good.
So yeah, that's all our favourite patients of the week.
I actually gave this one some thought when I was driving over this morning.
You haven't chosen the same one as me.
No, to be fair, I think probably the top favourite patient would be Ralph, the rabbit from last night, because he's such a lovely rabbit, and I'm really hoping that he'll do really well. He's done really well so far. He's been eating and things, so got high hopes that he'll be fine.
It's nice when you can do a surgery like that and you know
it's nice, particularly with a patient who's slightly older, that it's black and white.
Yeah.
You can take the X-ray picture, you can see what's going on, you know what you need to do, and you can have a fair idea on the outcome. There is risks, the bladder could leak and stuff afterwards, but at the end of the day, he should be all right. Yeah. So we'll see how he gets on. My second favourite, though, I think, is the mouse that I saw.
Oh, yeah, that mouse was cute.
Sandy, I think. I hope I haven't got a name wrong, was it? Yeah, she was really cute.
We do like the mice, don't we?
Oh, they're just such good pets.
Yeah, I used to have one when I was little called Lucky.
Yeah.
He was,
Was he lucky because you rescued him from like a snake feeder person?
Yes.
I think it's just sad. That's where most
raptor food.
Yeah, most of these breeders, they'll sell them as pets, but actually the main reason they're breeding them is to feed them to reptiles and birds, which is fine as long as they're ethically, humanely euthanized.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't live feed unless you've got some real specific licensing, is my understanding. But the average person can't live feed.
No.
So.
But no, he was lucky, and he was really sweet. It was quite noisy at night because I was a teenager, so I had him in my bedroom. But you get used to it, don't you? And then when they pass, it's so quiet. I couldn't sleep for about a week because I just didn't have the chewing. Because I used to make him little things out of all the cardboard boxes, cereal boxes, toilet rolls. Every few days I'd make him a new one. So he'd have a little maze in there, and he'd just chew it to bits and destroy it. Yeah. So.
Oh, they're so interactive and quite intelligent as well, really.
Yeah.
I'd rate them over hamsters as pets.
Oh, yeah, they're much more friendly.
Much more friendly.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the smell's not quite.
No.
I mean, hamsters smell as well, but mice do smell.
Yeah, mice do smell worse. Yeah, I was forever cleaning him out.
Yeah. What was your favourite patient? Nash. Was he not your favourite patient last week?
I don't think that was Nash. That was Alfie.
Oh, that was Alfie last week.
Yeah, my weight loss dog.
Yeah, Nash is a good boy.
He's just been through so much with us. Orthopaedic surgery, and then he's had a problem with his bladder, and this week we finally took his urinary catheter out, and me and Anna, our other nurse, were arguing over who was going to get to do the appointment, so we did it together.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Anna though, who took him home the night of, so he came in quite unwell. Can't go into too many specifics with his case really because it's so specific, but he came in quite unwell with a urinary issue, and he needed a catheter placing, which we did. I I think we did mention this briefly because I've been flooded.
Yes,
and
Anna
our
took
house
him
is all
home.
completely upside down because normally they'd come home with me, but Anna, bless her, even though it's her birthday and therefore day off the following day, took him home, got up every hour through the night to give him his meds and to drain his catheter and take him out and stuff. And yeah, he's done really well.
He's done really well. And
I would say he's
owners-
not out of the woods yet,
No,
but he's
done brilliantly.
He's doing really well.
And the owners for, I think, 3 days were emptying it every single
Every
hour,
hour.
so staying up, and then every 2 hours. So
Yes, yeah.
he's a lucky boy, and he's lovely.
Yeah.
He's just so nice when he comes in and doesn't hold any of it against us.
No,
just,
he's very good.
Happy
Yeah,
to
he's
come
very
in.
good. Yeah,
So, yeah.
considering
And-
all he's been through.
Yeah. And then Sly, the chinchilla, yesterday.
Yes,
He's beautiful.
yes, yeah.
We don't see
Yeah.
chinchillas as much anymore. We don't have people keeping them as pets as much,
Wow.
but he's lovely.
They're not as readily available. Pets at Home used to sell them, didn't
Yeah,
they? But then
yeah.
they realised that ethically it's not great because they're
Yeah.
long-lived and they're quite difficult to care for.
They used to escape quite a bit as well. Now and again we'd get an escapee when I worked here, and trying to get them again in the store was,
But I think also
difficult.
part of it is in a store environment like this,
Yeah.
they can't keep them and demonstrate them being kept in a way that's appropriate.
Yes.
Because they need such a big space,
Yeah.
really.
And plus the public want to see them, but they like to sleep and be nice and
Yes.
secure, so
Yeah,
there's just
yeah.
no way of providing that, really.
Well, they're fairly nocturnal. Some are a bit more crepuscular, like at dawn and dusk in their activity, but they're quite nocturnal animals. So yeah, busy pet store is not a place for them. So I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons we see less.
Yeah. But they are nice. They live, for rodents, they live a nice long time.
Yeah, I mean, all the books tell you they can get to 20 and beyond. I have to say, I've met very few that are actually that age. I would say maybe 12, early
Yeah.
teens is pretty good.
Yeah.
I've met a couple that's like 18, 19 years of age. But I think a lot of it is dietary.
Definitely.
And I would speculate that, I mean, don't quote me on this, but I think there probably is a requirement for UV light as well.
Yeah.
And I say it's to all the chinchilla owners I see is that it might be a good idea to get an ultraviolet light. Yes, they're nocturnal, but they often just sit in exposed spots. I know I used to have them, they used to sunbathe.
Yeah.
So when it was a nice day, they would sunbathe in where the light's coming in through the window.
Yeah.
And high Andes is relatively high UV.
Yeah, 'cause it's high up.
Yeah, and there's some evidence, although this isn't really definitively proven in rabbits, house rabbits.
Oh, and the guinea pigs. You see differences in their nails and their
Yeah,
coat condition and
yeah,
things on the
and
indoor ones.
dental health as well.
Yeah,
So.
and some of the foods now do have added vitamin D, and you can buy an indoor rabbit and guinea pig food now. So
Yeah.
I think it is being accepted more.
I'm not sure how much evidence there is behind any of that, though, truthfully.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think a UV light would be the best because it's just more natural,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
awesome time outside as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And particularly something like a chinchilla. I mean, they've got those big naked ears.
Yeah.
Like, they're perfect for soaking up UV light.
We were saying
it just all
yesterday
makes
that when
sense.
he was nice and warm, and you could see the little veins in his ears.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, definitely. And in the wild, they'd be eating sort of brush and dried up foliage. So they wouldn't be eating sort of fresh things, leafy things. So that's with the dental disease as well. They'd be eating sort of twiggy, dried things that wear their teeth down.
For a lot of the year,
which
at
is
least, yeah.
which much more here. It's harder to it's easy to provide that, but a lot of people don't know that that's
Yeah,
what they should
yeah.
be having.
Or of course, you'll see the nuggeted or the pelleted or the muesli diets.
Yeah, muesli would be the
And-
worst.
Well, it isn't. I think as long as you feed a really limited amount and,
Oh,
and they,
yeah, it's
and
like
they eat
a
all
treat,
of it as a
yes.
treat, like literally like a teaspoonful of less,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it, to be
No,
honest.
it's when they haven't got the
It's-
fibrous things alongside it, isn't it?
And when they've got the amount they can selectively feed
Yeah,
and just pick out
just
the
pick
high
out
oil
bits.
and the high fat bits.
Yeah, because they will. Or we would as well. We do, don't we?
Hmm. Yeah.
Got the biscuits and the.
Well,
cakes,
most of
aren't
these
they?
things got really sweet tooth, haven't they?
Yeah.
Rabbits, guinea
And in the
pigs,
wild,
chinchillas.
yeah, they wouldn't come across it very often, and so when they did, they just make the most out of it.
Yeah.
So they're wired to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was a cool patient.
He was really
So,
well handled. He liked
yeah.
having a cuddle,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I love it when you can syringe feed them after, and he really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
as
we've got a
well,
little
didn't
video of
he?
him having a syringe food.
Yeah.
So he came in for dental work. He just had one sort of large spur. So the teeth, not just the ones at the front, the ones at the back, grow continuously, hence the need for the diet stuff. So he had one area. So I would think long term he'll be all right. He will need dental treatment in the future, almost certainly, but I think he'll be one of those ones that goes for quite some time.
It'll be manageable.
Yeah, rather than that it can be every 4 or 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Which personally I don't ethically agree with, but Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've
I think
recommended
it-
weighing him now, haven't we, on kitchen scales every
Yeah,
week? Because then
yeah.
you can notice if he's dropping weight, we know maybe his teeth are causing a problem, and we can get in there early
Yeah.
before it gets
Yeah.
too bad.
Yeah, so I'd say for anyone out there with small furries, weighing them weekly would be fantastic. Monthly would be great.
Yeah. And
No,
your hens, the hens are good to be weighed as well,
Yeah,
so we can pick up
yeah.
things quickly.
Well,
with them.
anything like that, any birds, reptiles, small furries, where it's difficult to appreciate when they're unwell, if they're weighed, then you know that they're okay. So, yeah. I've just realised we didn't shout out Vets Pets Hereford for sponsoring us at the start,
yeah.
so let's get that in there now. That
Thank
sponsorship
you to
money
Vets
to buy all the
Pets.
kit. Right, what other questions have you got then?
So now I was going to ask you about starting the practice, really. So I think probably we should start with how... So Elliot is a JVP of the practice, so joint venture partner.
Yep.
So sort of to explain how that works, really, because a lot of people probably don't really know. So we're sort of lumped in Vets for Pets with corporate veterinary practices, but it is slightly... Well, it's quite different, actually.
Yeah, very different, very different. So I'm a partner. I own 50% of the practice, and then the wider corporate, owned by the Pets at Home group, owns the rest of the practice. So what that means is day to day we can manage it and do what we want to do. I think we covered that a little bit last time. I was sort of attracted to the model because it was a good opportunity, and at the time there was no other corporate practice in Hereford, so it was something that was quite different. And the model is very different to other corporates, and I just felt that there was a niche for it here and that we could fill that. I like the idea of being inside the Pets at Home store as well.
Yeah, it's nice.
And from a business point of view, it's a really sensible decision. So, yeah, we made inquiries. So we approached Vets for Pets and said, we've got a site, we think it will work. So then the process at the time was you went down and you had what's called a discovery day, where you meet people from different departments, discuss through the finance, the business side of things, and essentially get in theory get a feel for what it's all about, and then sort of just goes from there, really. I think we went down there being open to being put off. This is Emily and I at the time, predominantly me, but I couldn't do it without Emily. Being open to the idea of being put off, but I guess expecting to go ahead with it.
Yeah,
to be honest.
and just working out where the problems might be, but then thinking, we can overcome.
Well,
put up with those.
At the time, they really wanted us to go for Ludlow. Ludlow's a little town just north of Hereford, about 45 minutes north, thereabouts, because they built a new Pets at Home store, and there was an allocated space inside there, and it is still there to this day. And they really want us to do that, but it just didn't make sense from a business point of view. Ludlow's really small. It was a new store. There wasn't a guaranteed footfall. They were really pushing us for that, and stuck to my guns and said, no, Hereford is the only option. And, so within, I can't remember when we made inquiries. I think it must have been probably April, May time, I would say, in 2016.
Yeah.
So then I'd handed in my notice then and left previous practice in the August, I think it was, or somewhere around then, August, September. I then locumed and then opened up here in the following March.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, I'd signed a heads of terms contract with Vets for Pets to say that Hereford was ours and we had first refusal, because I just wasn't completely certain. So the step that I put in between leaving my previous job and opening here was I did locuming. So when you're a vet that's employed to cover other vets off on sick or holiday or whatever, I did that at some other Vets for Pets practices and got a feel for the model, and also did it at some other corporates as well, just so I could compare.
And it gave you ideas about the building as well, then you said, didn't
Yeah,
you?
it did.
So
Yeah,
you knew
yeah.
what worked and what would work.
Yeah, I went around it was quite an intense period of time. I to be honest, I hated it because I like continuity, I like stability, I like a team. And so I didn't enjoy it, but what I did enjoy was just going out and seeing all the different practices. Yeah, I like being nosy, obviously, we've established that. So I found it really valuable, and also really valuable to see how different dynamics and different teams worked as well as just like the nuts and bolts of the floor print of the buildings. Having said that, there's different things, I put different things in here.
Yeah, now we've
but
lived with it.
I mean, I was So I was 25 when we opened up here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
At the time when we first made inquiries, I had, only just turned 25. So
That's mad.
didn't have any business ideas or let alone design or planning or... No, I had ideas because I
And you knew
was
how
fairly
practices
sensible. I knew how
worked,
practice
yeah.
worked. And I'd worked in charity, I worked in independent, I worked in 3 different types of corporate. So got a feel for everything. Yeah. And then, opened up.
And I think I heard that you were opening up about October time, and I applied before there was any adverts out.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my email. I looked it up today from, I think it was Sarah at support office, just asking me why I wanted to do it, what if I had any certificates and things, and then got in contact with you. I remember I was Christmas shopping when you phoned in November, I think it was. I was getting my Christmas shopping in early, and then arranged an interview, and then we just sat and chatted, didn't we, at Windsor Dinmore in the cafe?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
It's not at the cafe anymore, but
No, yeah. And then just asked you loads and loads of questions
yeah,
about how it was all going to work. And
Yeah.
it just all seemed a bit too good to be true at the time, really. Like, that it was going to be a brand new spanking practice, that I'd get a say in what we bought and what equipment we had and the exotic side of things. And I just kept thinking, wait till we, get working and there'll be a problem or something. But it was really nice. After about 6 months, I started to relax. But it was nice, wasn't it? Especially, I used to come in, because you said, just come in and have a look. And I knew the Pets at Home guys anyway, because I'd worked we were their vets before.
Yeah.
So I used to come in and see how the building work was getting on. And it was crazy, it was so fast.
I have to say, I found it really weird. So the induction process opening up was not smooth.
No. It got put back a week, didn't it, as well?
Yeah, no one told me that I had an email address for Vets Pets as well. So it transpired that people have been sending, suppliers and things, have been sending me all sorts of emails, and I haven't been receiving them because no one told me that I had. And I naively, I just thought that I'd just rock up on the first day and it'll all be fine. Says something about my character type, probably. That is exactly what happened. I rocked up on the first day and it was fine. But the build up to it was weird because I was owner of this thing that was being made, and I would come in and just have a look around. And I think the builder guys, I was blatantly quite young and I had no idea. People would ask me questions, I'd just be like, no, I don't want it there. Put it there instead. And I remember what do they call when they snagging? It is. So when someone goes round when it should be all done.
Okay.
To look at, and I think this is a normal property thing. You go around and check everything as a snagging process just to make sure that it's all up to spec.
Oh no! Did you find loads of things?
Well, I didn't really at the time. There was a few things, but the guy was he kept looking at me, being like, "Oh, this isn't right. What do you think?" And I'd be like, "Well, if you don't think it's right, then it's probably not right, is it?"
You're not a builder.
What advice? What do I need to give you? And then since then, having lived in the practice for almost 8 years now, there is other little things that don't tell us the builders, but the quality of the build isn't great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think builders will care, but it's done to make it affordable. So
yeah, but I think we've looked after it well. We keep it nice and clean, and I think
that's because I have you all scooting around on towels every evening to dry mop the floor, and it's starting to look stained, and it makes me sad, but. Even scrubbing it and stuff, I mean, it's 8 years of pretty hard wear and tear.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And it's a light colour floor.
And I think it does look good for how long we've been here. And it is
I think so.
really clean.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, definitely.
A few places who were repainting stuff, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember everything arriving and all the equipment, and then I was really relieved because the autoclave was the same make as the one I'd used before, but it was just a bit bigger. The X-ray machine was the same make, but just newer. And I think that's the worrying thing when you go into a new job. You know all the clinical things, but sometimes you feel a bit stupid because you don't know how to work the computer system or a new piece of machinery. And it's silly because you don't necessarily know that. You're not taught that clinically, but it just puts you off your game.
But that's something that I often have that chat with new nurses, new vets, and the support guys as well, that actually you find that a lot of your confidence clinically comes when you know where the syringes are kept and you know where the cotton wool is kept.
Definitely.
And you know how to book an appointment all those sort of things.
Yeah.
Because actually you don't realise how much of your brain power that takes up.
Yeah,
just like
definitely.
wondering where something is or what the process is to book an appointment.
Yeah.
And then you nail all that, and then suddenly you're like, oh, the clinical stuff's like much simpler.
Yeah, it's much, yeah. And it's nice, I think some of the things that because I got to help like put everything away when it arrived, and that was nice because then I did know where things were, and it's nice that some of those things are still in the same place, so people must think it's quite common sense.
Although you say you knew where things were. Remember it was the troughs, I think, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, we
thought we didn't have, we just assumed we didn't have any troughs.
Yeah.
And so trough is like, is a trough, it's like a upside down U-shaped thing. You put an animal on its back in, so it keeps them stable. So we thought we didn't have any, so we'd ordered some more. And then we didn't discover till like 2.5 years later that there's one random cardboard box on top of a cupboard that I think we just all assumed someone else knew what was in it. And it turned out that it was troughs that had been there since day one.
Yeah. And I think I was really anxious when we first started, like, because it's a different practice, everything's different. But I think after sort of the first week or two, I went through like the meds list and was like, oh, we haven't got this or this or this.
Well, we realised in the first day we didn't have any isoflurane.
Yeah.
Which is what we used as an anaesthetic gas for patients.
Yeah, to patients. And then it was things like vitamin K if we have a poisoning. It was little things that...
Yes,
and then I thought, actually, I do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I could actually be useful. Yeah. So after the first sort of 2 weeks, I think I did get a bit more confidence. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have any idea. I just trusted you to order everything. I was busy winging it.
But it was great. It made me settle in because I just thought, yes, actually, I do know what we need and, all these little bits, which was nice. But I think we were all in the same boat that first 2 weeks, weren't we?
Yeah, I mean, shout out to all the guys that started with us. It was really nice. It was.
Yeah.
And the team were fantastic, and actually the original whole team stayed for longer than what I thought everyone would have done as well, really.
Yeah.
Because it's very intense and you don't really know what you're letting yourself in for.
No, and working with a whole new group of people. You can go for an interview at a practice and everyone's already a team. You can sort of see how it works.
You get a feel for the culture and the dynamics and stuff.
But whereas we just had what you were saying, really.
Yep.
And people always sort of make things sound better, don't they? In
yeah, you
do,
so naturally.
But yeah, that wasn't what happened.
I say you do. I try not to. I think I put off quite a lot of people with my interviews. So I tell them the real deal.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't put me off. It just sounded like you wanted to do a good job, and that's what I wanted to do. And I think that's the type of team that we've.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone just wants to look after the patients, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. What else? What else have you got?
Well, the opening week. That was exciting.
Oh, the opening week. Yeah, it was exciting. The first day was, so we had our open day. A few people from the support officers came.
Did we have the
lots
mayor?
of people. Yeah, we had the mayor cutting the ribbon. Very bizarre.
Yeah. And a photographer that kept telling me to smile.
Yeah.
Because he said I wasn't smiling enough.
You don't smile enough.
Not in photos. I'm getting better now.
Yeah, but if you are smiling, you don't open your eyes.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah, as normally my eyes are closed.
You can either smile or open your eyes. You can't do both at the same time.
You can only get one or the other.
To Photoshop one in. It was... it just flew by, really. It just flew by. And we'd had the week beforehand getting everything ready and stuff. And we had a lot of pre-registered clients. So several of those pre-registered clients then came in on the open day. Yeah. So there's a little box at the front of the Pets at Home store that people could leave their details in. And we then contacted them all, got all registered and stuff.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
And for me, I suppose it was really relaxing those first few weeks because we didn't have that many clients to start with. We were just building them up. So it had time to do SOPs, which are standard operating procedures of how we wanted certain things, well, lots of different things to run really. So it was nice just to get all that organised and in from the start. Yeah. But for you, it must have been a bit more business-wise. Oh, is it a bit quiet? Are we going to attract enough people?
No, I mean, I don't really... I'd say recently, I probably think more business-wise. At the start, didn't particularly. Hence why we had some slightly rocky financial times at the start.
Yeah.
Received a little bit of poor advice, and but managed to bring everything back around from there. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we've got I should say this or not, but 100k of client debt that I need to sort out probably highlights the fact that I wasn't that on it at the start and haven't really been since. But yeah, no. I think for me, I like to prove things to myself.
Yeah.
One of the things that I'm quite hot on is not comparing to others.
Yeah.
It's just not part of me. It's just not what I do.
And that has been nice, actually, just doing our own thing.
Yeah, but I've got a set of goals in my head that I want to achieve. And that's my yardstick that I measure against.
Yeah.
So for me, it was a case of, we're opening up. Is this the best that I can do?
Yeah.
And as long as it's the best that I can do, and as long as you recognise that sometimes the best you do isn't good enough, because whatever you do can't be good enough in some situations.
And a lot of the stuff we haven't got experience in, the team management things at the start.
I still don't.
Yeah. Yes, you do.
I know. I did my first bit of management experience a couple of weeks ago, didn't I?
Yeah, but
CP.
And it's just always changing as well, though, isn't it? So we've got to try and keep up with the team management side of things, but also
Gen Z.
Everything is changing, and
so rapidly as well.
Yeah.
I'd say even in the almost 8 years of this practice, certainly in the 10 years since I graduated, just the way things are done, I think probably across lots of industries, but I think particularly our industry, it is interesting.
And we've always done things a bit differently, right from the start, but some things are still surprise you.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, actually, I was looking back through my emails, and the other things I applied for at the time was vet phone, which I think used to be like a vet, I don't know if they're still around, an advice service, so veterinary nurses would answer the phone, I applied for that. I didn't hear back from them. But I also applied for the NHS as a complaints person, so you deal with people's complaints. And then National Rail, which I had an interview for, which was being like on the ticket office and customer service, because it was good pay and it seemed like it wouldn't be boring. But then
I don't know, that'd be.
I met you for the interview first, and then I didn't go to that interview.
No.
So
Yeah.
So that's the things that I was applying for at the same time.
I think the complaints one at the NHS would have been challenging.
Yeah,
I know someone who does a similar role, and
I think so.
I wouldn't want to do that.
No, I think at the time I was thinking, well, I quite like dealing with like challenging things, but then I think within the NHS I wouldn't actually be able to change anything. Whereas here, if we get a complaint, we can discuss it, we can put things into place if we need to, or we can just say, no, we did actually do a good job and we're happy with what we did.
Which is normally the answer. Realistically.
Yeah, it is. Normally it's a communication thing would be the only thing we'd normally change from that. We maybe could have said this different or explain something a bit better about how we do things.
And it's not uncommon that we'll introduce a new process generally around communications if we do have a complaint, but it's uncommon, I think, sometimes that complaints are part of life. Yeah. If you're not getting complaints, you're not doing enough work.
No.
That's the fact of it. Because you can't keep everybody happy, unfortunately. I would love to. Yeah. But you just can't.
Well, and it's a really emotive thing, isn't it? We're looking after people's family, really. And
but I think it would have been a challenge doing that NHS job.
Yeah, I think it would have.
Luckily. I think
luckily I came here.
You would have been anxious, for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because I wouldn't have been in control of anything.
No.
So, I'm glad I didn't do that. Half-term plans? What we're doing next
week? So, the children are very excited. I'm still not completely certain what time I'm going to have off next week because Natasha's been unwell, hasn't she? So I may well end up in here. We're hoping to go to the National Space Centre just because we talked about it the other day, talked about planets and stuff, and the kids were asking questions, and we thought, let's go there.
I went there.
I think it's near Leicester, I think.
Okay.
I might be completely wrong. Went there many, many years ago. So I think that's on the cards, which would be good. I'd quite like to go to Cotswold Wildlife Park.
Yeah, that's always a good one.
Because we've not been this year. Didn't have money to go earlier in the year. And then the one day where we were planning on going was in that time I come down with horrible tonsillitis, so it didn't happen.
And a lot of the team like going there, don't they? It's one of our favourite places.
Yeah. Oh, I'd like to let's get an interview done there.
Yeah. Whenever I say to Joe, he's like, again. He likes it when we get there, though.
Yeah, I could go there.
I like the anacondas are one of my favourite things there. They are
boring.
They're
boring there, and they're fat.
Oh, yeah, but they are massive.
I suspect they're obese, not just fat.
And the leaf cutter ants. those are fascinating. I
Yeah.
like watching them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good place. And then I've got probably lots of animal stuff going on as well, really. We shipped out Apollo, our billy goat, to go and see some girlfriends. So he went yesterday, so Emily saw him off. I trimmed his feet yesterday, and the stank. I had to double shower.
That's it. If anyone's got any suggestions of getting rid of goat smell from your clothes and your person, there must be something.
It just clings. Probably wash them in tomato ketchup.
Yeah, I was going to say, it must be like skunks.
But it just smells. I hid my shorts at the bottom of the washing basket, so they probably can't go into the wash. So Emily won't be happy about that. She may have thrown them out.
The rest of the clothes will smell like it.
I wear shorts and t-shirts like whatever I'm doing.
Year round.
So because like you can wash everything off your skin. Like what's the point of wearing overalls? Like you just end up with more washing. So you're just like, I'm going to go in the shower anyway. Just wash yourself. So I did his feet yesterday. He stank. And then the 3 goats we had staying, Esme, Blossom, and Clover, they went back to their owner. So we went from 8 goats to 4 goats. Apollo will be coming back, of course, at some point. And I'll have cleaning out to catch up on, because I ended up coming in this week on my cleaning out day, so I didn't get everything done. Our pets have big enclosures and stuff, so it's not a big deal, but I like to clean everything out weekly.
You like cleaning it, you
to
enjoy it,
clean,
don't you? You find it relaxing.
And also this time of year, I have to clean the shed floor and stuff where the guinea pigs and Mickey are, because when it rains, Mickey doesn't go outside in the toilet, he just wheezes on his bed in the shed, which I hate. It's so annoying. He's so lazy. He's so dirty. But everyone loves him because he looks so cute.
He's lovely.
So grubby. so yeah, and there's lots of just like autumn jobs that I need to catch up on. It'll be first of the month's job, so I'll be doing all the goats' feet, and I'll be flea and worming all the dogs and the cat and stuff.
I've
and
got
that sort of thing.
cats as well. But
I need to give Fern her arthritis injection as well. I think there's something else to do next week. I'm hoping I'm going to take the podcast after I go home, and hopefully going to do recordings with both my nannies as well.
That would be nice.
Well, I need to contact them and get it booked.
Have you told them yet?
No, I haven't told them. I'm hoping that they'll both say yes. I don't think they would say no. So my thoughts are, I don't think I talked about this last time, but I want to... So I'm very lucky I've still got both my nannies, and they're both farmed, and the generation above did as well. And I want to record... I want to start off... I was thinking about it the other day. What I actually want to do is start off a generational trend of recording family history verbally.
Yeah,
because
that's nice.
There's so much just gets lost.
Yeah, and it's not the same in a photo. You don't know what was going on.
If you think, do you know what your grandparents were doing when they were children, and what their parents were doing, and what their parents were doing? Like if you ask your grandparents if they can remember their grandparents, because you might know a job role, but you wouldn't actually know like
that much.
Who they were as people.
Yeah, definitely.
And I find that really interesting. I'm not really into the whole genealogy thing, if that's what it's called, where you like do family trees and stuff.
See, I like that, but I like it for the reason behind where then you can see, what sort of things they were doing
crazy.
And where they were,
See where the genes come from. See why you're mad.
And Joe might kill me, but he did one of those DNA tests and he wasn't very happy because it was just a bit boring. There wasn't anything.
It's just like white British.
Anything cool on there. I think there was, because his granddad was Romanian, so we thought there would be more, just a bit different. But I also don't know how good those are, because from what I've read, they test for people who are testing themselves now,
right?
And they go off that rather than the DNA of the generations
so
before.
They go from what people are telling them they are.
Yeah, I think just from where those people live and what DNA they've got. That's what I heard on another podcast. So I don't know how.
Maybe it depends which one it is as well.
And from what Kelly, our behaviour nurse, has told me about the dog ones, that's similar. Unless you've got a massive DNA bank, then it's not as specific really.
No.
And it depends how many genomes they test for and things like that. So,
Well, also, I'm pretty sure it's been done for our family. I'll have to ask my sister to dig it out. I did a few years ago, but it never materialised. I'm pretty sure my family history is very boring.
Yeah.
And I'm slightly inbred, obviously.
Hereford. Whereas some of ours, we did ours, and a lot of it, like my granddad was from Yorkshire, so that was quite interesting. And then my two granddads were in the Second World War as well, but trying to find that is really difficult because I think the Records Office in London got bombed. No, he was in the First World War, sorry, and then it got bombed in the Second World War, so a lot of the records were lost.
Yeah,
so
exactly. There's stuff like that,
yeah,
isn't it?
and if it wasn't, and they don't, because they were men as well, didn't talk about it.
Yeah, it wasn't recorded.
Yeah, so it's important to talk, I think, and that's I think why the podcasts are a good.
Yeah,
thing.
well, as I say, that's why I would like to publish it, but I know that some of my family would literally murder me for publishing something like that. Yeah. So I don't know if I'll ever publish
Telling
it.
all their secrets.
Yeah, exactly. But I think it'd be a really nice thing to do. And I've got someone in mind who I'm going to rope into putting visuals and photos over it as well.
Oh, that would be nice.
Because I know that certainly Nanny Biscuit has got a lot of old photos.
I love looking back at old photos.
I think the only trouble is that even with some of those photos, we don't exactly know who they are.
No, yes.
Because actually, someone's like, oh, that's so-and-so, but then whoever knew who so-and-so was has died.
Yeah.
So then you don't know who they are.
Yeah, definitely.
So there's some that you do, and there's my great-grandfather's, one of his shepherding smocks and stuff like that he used to wear, and a photo of him. And so, that's the project. I want to get that kick-started this next week. The other thing we're going to do is the kids want to go to a pumpkin patch.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't really want to go to. I'm tempted to buy some pumpkins and put them out in the field.
Yeah, well, we're having a pumpkin
It'd be cheaper.
contest here, aren't we? A carving contest.
Yeah, I need to
and
carve
I just
my
got
pumpkin.
mine from Tesco.
Yeah, I need to carve my pumpkin, actually.
Yeah.
But how do farmers make any money on those, though?
I don't know.
It's
£1.89 it was.
How does anyone make any money?
I don't know. There wasn't much. I don't know if they're a different breed of pumpkin, because there isn't much inside, because I made soup out of it, but there wasn't much.
Most pumpkins are just grown for people just to display them or carve them.
Maybe that's why. Maybe it doesn't take as... I don't know. But I still was thinking that, how do they get fair money for that?
Yeah, I don't understand.
Because they take up a lot of space as well, don't they, pumpkins?
Yeah, and I don't think they'd be that easy to grow. I'm not sure.
And actually, I didn't check if it was British or not when I bought it. Maybe then.
Yeah,
but then it must be more expensive to import pumpkins, because they're heavy, aren't they?
Well, you don't know, though. I mean, look at what else is imported.
Yeah.
If it's cheaper to import, I don't know, meat from New
I suppose
Zealand or
meat's
whatever.
heavy. Pumpkin.
It's all the economics, isn't it?
Yeah, so maybe you are better going to a local pumpkin patch.
Yeah, but it's expensive. And half of them they buy in and just put them out anyway.
Yeah, and they just put them out.
Anyway.
And plus Yolo gets through pumpkins
last year. Yeah. So.
What did he do, about 20 pumpkins?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But shout out to Jess from the Green Room, because she bought us loads of pumpkins in, didn't she?
Did, yeah. And I bought a load the day after Halloween from Morrison's.
Oh, yeah.
They were like...
And plus you don't waste them, your animals eat them then, don't they?
They got fed up and they stopped eating them in the end. But they generally get eaten.
Our chickens are too picky anyway. They're just... Anything they have to work for, they won't eat, so they're not even bothered.
I mean, the goats sort of pick at it, and the guinea pigs will eat some.
Yeah.
The chickens aren't interested. The rabbits aren't really interested. The Shetland ponies aren't interested, actually.
Our pets are too well fed, they're just fussed.
Yeah, they know there's better stuff out there.
Yeah.
So, what are your plans?
I'm going to Crocodiles of the World tomorrow with my 2 nephews.
Is it worth going all the way down for that? This is why we go to Cotswold Wildlife Park.
Yeah.
It's because it's such a long way to go. I think there's more there.
Yeah, there probably is more, but... I didn't think it was going to be that interesting, but I hadn't been. And then Claire, our receptionist, said how good it was. So me and Joe went in March, and it was amazing. It was fascinating.
Maybe we'll
just things like, I didn't realise alligators raise their babies.
Yeah.
And there's baby alligators on the back of the dad alligator, who's massive. Yeah. And just little things that I didn't realise, and just getting to look at them so close.
My questions would be, though, reptiles are generally boring. They don't really do much. You could walk round and walk around again, and it'll still be sat in the same place. Oh,
no, they were quite mobile, and they feed the Nile crocodiles. They've got, and I think all of those were mainly rescues or ones that people have tried to import into the country, and some of the stories are...
Well, what about, like you say, with the alligator, with the babies, though? The alligators get massive. Where do all those babies go?
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the outlook for them? Because fair enough, they're a good thing for the public to come and see, to draw people in.
Yeah.
But then if you've got, 15 babies or something?
Well, I think they've got a lot of, not the alligators, but they have got some rare species, and it does say on each of the things which ones are. And I think a lot of them have come from... the pet trade, people keeping them in their baths, and
But
horrible
I mean, that
stories
wouldn't be the
like
case for
that.
alligators
No,
or Nile crocodiles.
yeah, I'm not sure. The Nile ones were. Two of them were in Europe. One of them was in a lake, I think. Someone had released it. They'd
Yeah,
had
but
it as a
I
pet
mean,
and
as
then
in
let it
rare,
go.
they're not like.
Oh no,
yeah,
no.
yeah.
The Nile crocodiles were all rescues.
Yeah.
But the feeding of those, they
Yeah.
like hang it off a pole and they all
Yeah,
jump
yeah.
up to get it. That's really, the kids all love that.
Oh,
And then
maybe we
they've
should
got
go.
a Komodo dragon.
Yeah.
So they're part of the Komodo.
Is it a proper
like,
size
breeding
one
team.
though?
It's
a really
not
big
as
one?
small as Pete, the one at the Birmingham
Mm.
wildlife place, but yeah, he's cool. And then they've got
Yeah.
some really big tortoises. Those are really cool. And then they've also got, I want to say clouded leopards. And the cool thing about that was that they were sleeping, but they've got them on TV screens, so they can go and sleep like nice and quietly, but you can watch them still. And they do just look like cats, like
Yeah,
stretching
yeah,
out
yeah,
and
yeah.
pawing and yeah.
But then I'd be slightly controversial in that whenever we go places, I don't find the big cats that exciting.
No.
Because for me, they're just cats.
Yeah, I
They're
do find it
or
amazing.
you watch their behaviour,
Yeah.
and they're just cats.
But that's what I find, fascinating, that they're so big, but they are, like, they put things in with perfume on and stuff, don't they? And they just go crazy for it. And
But then you see something like the African painted dogs,
yeah,
and they're cool, even though they are dogs,
Yeah.
essentially. They're like doing something, and
yeah,
whereas the cats are just like lying around because they've been fed and they don't need to do anything.
yeah, and
Why bother?
yeah. But yeah, these ones were cute.
Mm.
And then, they've got loads of other different reptiles there as well.
Yeah.
And then they've got a play area for the kids. And the cafe was good as well. It wasn't expensive like it is in some places.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, perhaps we will
Yeah,
go
and plus
sometime.
it's half term and it's October, and it's definitely good, even if it's raining
Yeah,
and cold,
yeah.
it'll be nice and warm. So I
Yeah.
like that.
I suppose,
Do you
yeah,
like being
true, I
warm?
suppose. That's the thing with Cotswold Wildlife Park, is you walk around and it's always quite cold there. It's always colder than what it is at home, I find.
Yeah,
You
it's
set
always
off,
just quite windy,
it's quite
isn't
exposed.
it? Yeah,
So like if you're walking around the rhinos and the giraffes and stuff, it's
yeah.
quite open.
Yeah, but it can be lovely, like on a summer's day, can't
And we're
it?
tight, so we take a picnic. So
Yeah,
we've got to sit outside and eat.
I do that if it's me and Joe, but if it's the kids, then they get
They get a
spoiled
treat.
and they get to go out for lunch.
Secretly, it's you getting the treat.
Yeah.
That's why you like taking the kids.
Yeah, cheaper to feed than Joe. Yeah. But Monkey World's a bit like that as well. We went in March last year, and do you remember it snowed, because we got snowed in that one day
Yeah.
where we were staying. And yeah, everything was just, we were out in the cold outside the enclosures and they were all cuddled up
They're
in
all
their
just in the warm.
blankets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's why I chose Crocodiles of the World as well. And plus, Will really likes dinosaurs. And so it's probably like the closest thing
Yeah,
that you can get to them.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Sam likes all the facts and things about them. So, and they've got really good like signage up
Yeah.
and telling you about them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So good luck, Laura and Tommy will be talking about crocodiles for weeks then.
Ah, that's fine.
Oh, and actually, speaking about that, we're going to get Sam, my nephew, he's 9, just coming up 10, to come and ask us some questions. And
Yeah, we're going to give him some things to have a look at, like a couple of skulls and stuff, and then come in and ask us veterinary questions. That'd be one for the kids.
yeah,
I think that'd be quite interesting. It'd be interesting to see what he grills us on.
I think he'll have some good questions.
Actually, talking of questions, we did get asked one question on social media, which was Mav asking about euthanasia.
Oh, yes.
And let's cover that now. We've got time to cover that now.
Okay.
So I get asked quite a lot about euthanasia.
Yeah. And I get told, I don't know how you do your job.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can put things to sleep, but it's actually one of the nicer
Yeah,
bits.
I'd say it's weirdly it is often one of the better bits of the job,
Yeah.
because generally you're doing it for the right reasons. Generally doing it because the patient is unwell, or for whatever reason, mutually with the client, you come to the decision that euthanasia is the appropriate, ethical, correct thing to do.
Yeah.
And when it goes well, it's very fulfilling, because actually you've prevented that pet
Yeah.
from suffering. And it's always weird that the majority of the people leave saying thank you, which when you think about it, it's really
Yeah.
strange.
And it's
because
the thing we
you've-
get the most like gifts for, isn't it? Like flowers and chocolates and
but
things.
you've
and-
literally just killed their pet.
Yeah.
Like, it's the bare bones of it. But actually people leave saying thank you. And that's when you know that you're doing something okay.
Yeah.
And it really sort of when it goes well again, cement that sort of trusting relationship
Yeah.
that we touched on before between.
I think quite often we know our clients well and we know the pets well.
Yeah,
And we
yeah.
can quite often plan for it. So even if we know that euthanasia is going to be what's going to happen over the next few days. We can then make sure that animal's comfortable. They've got time with them for a few days to say goodbye and to spoil them.
Yeah.
And in those cases, it makes such a difference to have somewhat good memories from the euthanasia rather than...
Hopefully. I mean, of course, it doesn't always go to plan.
And sometimes it's an emergency.
Yeah. And sometimes there needs to be a snap decision in the animal's in a critical condition with no chance of recovery, and we need to get the job done.
And sometimes the animal's in our care and the owner isn't here. If we find something under anaesthetic or in surgery, a lot of owners do trust us to go ahead and do that, which must be so hard for them.
So challenging, indeed. And it's something which can be very different as well in terms of... I often describe to people, I've had euthanasia consultations where we're doing it and I end up with clients that are rolling around screaming out on the floor in the waiting area. I've had clients which show no emotion at all and just leave, and everything in between. So you do have to be very versatile, and it can be very draining.
Yeah. Trying to weigh up how to act yourself as well, and how to make it as... Because some people like to chat through it as well and talk about their animal, and some people don't want to talk at all as well.
Well, and another thing which I cover quite a lot is the idea of being understanding, is that you can never understand what's going on in someone else's head.
No.
You can empathise. So for me, empathy is that connection without prejudice or judgment, that you emotionally connect with what is going on. But you need to connect with the fact that everyone will do things differently. I've had a complaint from euthanasia before because they felt that I spoke like a vicar. But you do just drop your voice and be a bit... But I had a complaint and the complaint was that they felt it was inappropriate because it was, in their words, just a farm cat. But for me, they certainly were upset at the time. Yeah. So I was constantly gauging and adjusting my behaviour based on the cues that I'm getting from the client. But again, to go back to it, it's one of the better things that we do, weirdly. Yeah,
and it's nice being able to do it and let them go peacefully, especially when we know, in a lot of cases, we've done a lot of tests and we know they're not going to get any better.
Well, sometimes when we haven't done any tests, though.
Yeah.
So it's also looking at the idea of a prognosis compared to a diagnosis.
Yes.
So a diagnosis is you know exactly what's going on, you know what the problem is. A prognosis is you know how the pet is going to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes, well, a lot of the time, you don't need a diagnosis to know that the prognosis is bad.
Yeah.
And it's getting people on board with that, because a lot of people want to know. They want to know definitively.
Yeah.
But maybe don't have the resources, or we don't have the time for that patient in terms of critical situation, don't have the finances, whatever. So a lot of the time it is saying, actually, we don't need to know what's going on here. But what I can tell you is that it's not going to end well.
No. And in the media, I think you do see a lot of stories about, oh, my dog's cancer treatment is going to cost £11,000 and I can't afford
just
it.
Just euthanize it.
And because sometimes, a lot of our cancer, it isn't the same as it is with humans. We're not putting them into remission.
No.
We're just
palliative
care.
So you're just holding it at bay, and you know they're going to die.
And I don't feel guilty that you can't do everything. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, is what we quite often say, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes finding out what type of cancer it is with testing and, again, spending a lot of money isn't necessarily going to change the outcome for that pet. No. So it's being open with us as well, isn't it? And chatting. And
don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that chemotherapy is the wrong thing to do.
No.
And we do it.
Yes.
And a lot of the time, animals have really good quality of life.
Yes.
And they really do.
Yeah.
But if you're in a situation where it is going to put you under undue emotional, financial, relationship stress, euthanasia is better.
Yeah.
And I would never judge someone.
No.
And actually, on a similar note, I would say there's never a time that's too early for
No.
euthanasia either.
No.
Because we'll have people come in, and a lot of the time there's a lot of guilt wrapped up in this decision-making process.
And even telling us that they think it's time to put their pet to sleep, they think we're going to judge them for that.
Yeah.
You know your pet the best out of anybody, and if you think it's time, we're very unlikely to argue with that.
Yeah, we're there to support that. And at the end of the day, there's often situations where a classic is an older arthritic pet. It's so challenging where they've been going slowly downhill. And it's so hard because actually it's difficult to recognise when it's your own family member.
And mentally, the dog is
often pretty bright.
Yeah.
But you get to a stage where we start having discussions around what are we waiting for? What actually we know that this is not going to improve.
Yeah.
We're dosed up. We've got loads of different stuff going on, hydro, physio, massage, or whatever. But we know the situation is not going to get better. And that's really hard to then call that.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
From my point of view, euthanasia is correct at any stage then, really.
Yeah. I'd say those are the hardest ones.
It's very
as well.
difficult for people to come to terms with.
And I think because it's happened slowly with the arthritis, they've slowly got worse and worse and worse. You don't have a sudden change, and it's hard to make that call at which day is it that their quality of life is not good enough, really.
Yeah. So those conversations can be very challenging. And I will admit sometimes it is difficult where there are occasions where I'm of the opinion where the animal would be better off euthanized.
Yeah.
But for the client to recognise that can be very difficult.
But I think we are very good at
I'll always
advocating
be very open.
for the patient as well, and saying that is what we feel, but also giving them options.
Yeah, but it's doing it in a way that there is no blame and there is no judgment. We're there in a professional capacity to recommend and give advice.
Yeah.
Very rarely there's times where the animal, without doubt, needs euthanizing. And if there is refusal at that stage, then we'll sometimes seek external support with that. But that would be very, very rare. Very rare.
Yeah.
And I think the vast majority of the time it's just that we're a supportive role for clients in a really positive way. And I've had situations before where, I mean, you say we know the patient, we know the client, but I've had people here on holiday and that sort of thing.
Yes.
And they leave saying it's the best experience they've had at a vet's ever.
Yeah.
And I've euthanized their pet.
Yeah.
I just think that's mad because, I've euthanized their pet. So they've left without their pet, but it's been the best vet experience. And just think,
I think the other thing I'd like to say is there's always a post doing the rounds saying, do not leave your pet with the vet on their own. So you should always stay with the euthanasia. Oh, it's just such a load of rubbish.
Nonsense.
You shouldn't be made to feel guilty. Whatever is best for you. We had an owner this week that one of the partners didn't want to stay. One of them did. Yeah. The owner asked me if I could stay to be with her.
As well as someone else doing the euthanasia.
Yes. So I stayed just for the owner, not for the pet as much.
Yeah.
Because Kate was
and
doing
he's
that.
such a well-loved pet as well. You know,
and some people can't go through that. They might have other things going on and it's going to push them. Yeah. And even if nobody stays with that pet, one of our nurses is always with them. Yeah. And there's just nothing wrong with that. You've got to do what's best for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you want to stay, you stay. If you don't want to stay, absolutely fine. No judgment.
No. And quite often
I hate that post that goes around on social media.
It makes me so angry.
Yeah. It's so judgmental.
Yeah, really judgmental. And if you want to be with your pet, be with your pet. Mm-hmm. But don't judge what other people want to do.
Let's face it, if you want to run out halfway through...
Oh, we always say that to people.
Run out halfway through.
If you need to leave,
If you need to leave, just leave.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. No. And I obviously care very much about the situation.
Yeah.
But you feel comfortable making the decision that you want to make. The only ones I do feel for, to be fair, is things like small furries where generally owners can't be there with them. Yeah. I would like to have a way around that, but it's just...
It's because we have to use
health and safety, really, the anaesthetic gas. And birds I generally don't do with the owner present because the reflexes afterwards, they'll often flap and it looks distressing. The patient has gone, but it looks distressing. And so I generally don't do that with owners.
But I think that is another thing, just to blow our own trumpet, that we do well here, is we will get other vets maybe saying that they can't see that animal even just for euthanasia, and we will put to sleep anything in in as most respectful way as we can.
Yeah, I don't know if that's blowing our own trumpet, like some sort of angels of death able to euthanize whatever comes to us.
Well, we are.
Well, we are, I know we are. Well, I don't know, if someone brought an elephant, that would be a challenge.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't have enough
We wouldn't have
drugs.
enough drugs. We'd have to like scrape together some
We'd have
stuff.
to pull together with everyone else.
But
yeah,
no,
I feel quite proud.
Ethical
that,
euthanasia is such a big part of our job.
yeah, and
Such
it
a big
is
part.
it is difficult sometimes with the species, but it's
Yeah.
in a way similar. The
Yeah.
owner still loves that pet. They still care for it. It doesn't matter what species it is.
Yeah. I think on that note, we probably ought to wrap up, to be fair. But yes, thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you to Vets for Pets. For
Yeah, thank you
sponsoring
to
the
Vets for Pets
podcast.
Hereford. Not Vets for Pets, Vets for Pets Hereford.
Vets for Pets Hereford.
For sponsoring the podcast. And we have made contact with a few people to get some interviews lined up.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alice, bless her.
Yes.
So the last podcast, which hopefully you listened to, was about 50 minutes or so, I think. Alice spent 6 hours editing. So Alice, I know you'll be listening because you'll be editing this. Keep this bit in. Don't spend 6 hours on this one.
We don't mind a few ums, and we don't
You
mind.
can leave some of the ums in. People can put up with that. You need to do your uni work as well. Shout out to Alice because it's not an easy thing to edit this.
And you've got an email address now if people want to send questions.
Yes, I have got an email address. It's I can get it right now.
Well, we could get Alice to put on.
I'm pretty sure, but if it's not correct, Alice can get rid of this. It's hello@thevetwithpets.co.uk.
I think that is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'd like some questions, wouldn't we?
Yeah. Please do send us questions. It gives us content to talk about. Send us recommendations for people to talk to. It's been such a busy last 6 weeks, so I need to get my act together with contacting people. Brilliant. So thank you for listening to the Vet with Pets podcast. So I've been Elliot.
I've been Becky.
And we'll see you next time.